you following the phone sales script? Are you following your script for your sales calls?
Yeah. I always follow my script, and
Okay, cool.
my script works. It's not, but it's just changing it. I guess changing it so it's more in line with this.
Yeah,
Josh, you're not selling what you think you're selling.
I don't even know.
What I mean by that is you're not selling nutrition. You're not selling a training program, right?
Yeah.
What you're selling is the problem that having your nutrition solves. So what I mean by that is the feature of your program. Let's just like run it through like last and easy, right? The feature of your program is you get a training program. What's the benefit of that training program to your client? And then what problem does it solve that they've told you?
Yeah.
And that's how you want to think about when you go to sell it. You're not selling training. You're thinking about the problem that solves. You're not solving nutrition. You're solving what problem does that solve for the client?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. Like it's always about the pain point. I'm all over that. It's just, I guess for me, I'm like the way I've gotten leads is like buying old PT like lost lists off PTs at gyms, and I'm trying to change their headspace from training with someone at the gym to this, and it's yeah. I haven't gotten leads through social media and all that sort of stuff yet, so I'm still trying to change things around. If that, yeah, I'm a bit fried today, so I'm not really making sense.
So that's fine. So they've been training with gyms or with PTs face to face, or they've worked with them in the past, essentially, or inquired in the past with PTs that are face to face.
Yeah,
perfect. So during the process of your sales script, it's like, awesome, Josh. Like, so what have you done in the past to help you work towards this? And they'll say, oh, like I work with PTs, blah, 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 blah. It's like, awesome. And like, is there anything that you like really enjoyed about doing that? And they'll obviously tell you. Is there anything that you didn't think was great about doing it that way? Obviously, they didn't get the results they were after, or they wouldn't be chatting to you and having a conversation, right? So they're going to essentially open up and speak about why it wasn't successful for them. And that's where you can speak about how you can solve that problem for them. So you need them to open up and get into that conversation of like, oh yeah, it was great, but I couldn't get to the gym at the times with the coach or things like that. And then sort of try to get them to open up that way and build out a hole for themselves.
Yeah. No, I totally, I totally get all that. And yeah, thank you for, I guess, I'm just kind of trying to, I'm overthinking it.
It's cool. Keep in the back of your mind, man, some questions maybe later on down the call in regards to all of that. Because I think Gav sort of nailed it there as well. It's a little bit of a mindset shift. And one of the big things is, man, like, what writes a book? Is it a pen or a typewriter?
Well, yeah, either.
Yeah, exactly. They do the same thing. They got different applications of how they do it. And so, and I don't know if that's a good analogy, but that's essentially what you're doing is you've got someone who's here and they want to get to here. What's in the middle doesn't necessarily matter as long as it works. So, because people may they'll come and do personal training, they'll come do an online program, or they'll go and get liposuction to lose 30 kilos. It's the same outcome. There's two different things in the middle. Cool. And so it's like just shifting, you just focus on that, and potentially doing some role plays with Brad would be very, very beneficial, man. Cool. Yeah. If you guys like, maybe if Brad has enough time towards a little bit after, we can potentially do a role play on that. Would you have time, Brad?
I've got to shoot for a coaching call.
Okay, cool.
Towards the end of this.
Cool. Well, would you guys be open to maybe doing a role play with Josh on this now while Brad has time? just so you can sort of hear it, if that's okay with you, Brad.
Yeah, man, far away.
Cool. Josh, fire away, man. You're the customer. Cool. And Brad will
No, go
rock
the other way.
You do it, yeah.
I know how to sell.
Okay, cool.
Josh, just run me through, where's the biggest part of the script you think you're struggling with at the moment?
Just the close.
Okay, then who do you work with? Like, who's your ideal client?
The ideal, I guess, the avatar is like 30-year-old, quiet professional.
Okay, cool. So, to give you some context to make it easy to close, right? So I'll give you some pain points essentially, so we can miss the front part of it. I'm like 35, one kid, professional, like earn a good income. I'm time poor. I've dieted before, lost 10 kilos, but couldn't keep it off. All right. So you guys understand like the pain points that I've got, things that I've tried. So run me through I suppose the question before you go into your pitch, and then the pitch.
Okay. So Brad, so from what you've told me, you're sorry, what was the goal again? He wants to lose weight. Yeah. So
Wait.
Yeah, cool. So what you told me, Brad, like you're wanting to lose weight because like you're struggling to keep up with your kids, and you're 35 now, you're not getting any younger, and you're really wanting to get on top of it, because if it keeps going that trajectory, you're not going to be the trajectory it's going in, you're really not going to be in a good position moving on. Yeah, sweet. So to get there, to get to that point where you're starting to feel a bit better and keep up with your kids, you definitely need a training program, don't you?
I don't know. That's why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, so you don't know what?
No, I don't really. That's why I'm having this conversation. I don't really know what I want. Just want to lose the weight.
Yeah, it seems like yes. So I said, yeah. I was just going through my yes set at the end before. So I may need to pull it back a bit.
Yeah, cool. So the going through and getting 5 yeses, essentially, it's very old school, right? People know what you're doing. So how I would change it is, hey Josh, like it sounds like what we sort of do here at XYZ Fitness sounds like we may be able to potentially help. What I can do is run you through how the program might work, if that is that suitable, and get them to go, yep, sounds suitable. And then from there, you're going to go into the close, right?
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
So you would have done cost of inaction before you got to that point. You've done cost of inaction, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So going through the cost of inaction, that's where you get their emotional, right? People buy on emotion, not from logic. So you want to go with the emotion. You've just asked me logical questions. You need a training program, do you? Like that's logical.
Yeah.
Right? They're all logical questions.
Yeah.
So you want to keep them on the emotional bandwidth.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, let's say like Josh, if we are able to help you drop 5 kilos over the next X weeks, how would that make you feel? Oh, I'd feel great. Awesome. And what would that do for you personally? Oh, well, I'd be able to do this and do that. Okay, excellent. And on the flip side, let's say we do absolutely nothing over the next 12 weeks. What does like the sort of future look like then for you? Oh, well, I'd still feel like shit. I'd still have the extra weight, like whatever it may be. It's like, okay, possibly time to make a change then, is it? And that's where you get them to go, yes. Like that's a commitment question. You're getting them to agree that if they don't make a change, their life is going to be the same or if not worse. Right. And then from there you can go, okay, it sounds like what we do might actually help. If you're open to it, I can run you through how our program works. Would that be appropriate? They're going to say yes. And then you go into your pitch.
Yeah. Yeah. I started a little bit too late in my script, but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Like it's not really about, that it's about, just attaching it back to the emotions as you were saying, rather than, no, I know exactly what you're saying. I'm a bit fried today, so I'm not really,
No, that's all right. Does that make sense to everyone? Like, just give me, like, you've all got your cameras on, just give me like a thumbs up. Like, see how, like, if we go down the logical thing, like, you need a program, don't you? They're like that's very confronting. Like, you're just telling them what they need. Like, we know what they need. Like, we want to go through, okay, so it sounds like what we do might actually help. Keep them on the emotional bandwagon, and then we're going to solve their problems. And that's when we tell them what they need, is during our pitch, because we're going to solve their problems with each part of it. So hopefully that helps.
Yep. Yeah, that's very good. It's something I miss all the time in my sales stuff as well. So, and that's when you always get like that same objection where, oh, I'll just think about it, or can I do a trial, or that sort of thing, because we missed that cost of inaction. So a good way to potentially do this, Josh, is if you track your objections or track what you're coming up against, and then you can bring them along to the hive, and we can help you work through them as well, or record your sales calls as well.
Yeah, it's not really, yeah. I might just mute myself. I'm not really articulating very well today, man.
No,
Sorry
you're right.
about that.
Cool.
And thanks for your help as well.
No worries, guys. Cool. All right, so the team. So today, welcome to the call. Good to see everybody there. I won't call out names because it'll take everyone, but good to see you as well. Today, what we got, guys, is we're into week 3, or we're into our Tuesday part of our Venom launch, which is we go into a social proof post. Okay, and so today I'm going to give you a bit more, I guess, of the principles of a really good social proof post, so that ultimately you guys can see it from, I guess, what's under the hood in a social proof post. And so the way we're going to do it today is about a case study. And so this always comes up where people are like, how do I get my clients, if they don't want to be on social media, if they don't want to, do videos and stuff like that? This is a way that you can do it, or you can help to tell their story for them so that you can share more social proof and get that out there. Okay, so one thing also, guys, before we start this, I just want everyone to go into either their Instagram or their Facebook, cool, and start 5 to 10 messages with people who've engaged with your content in the last 24 hours, or people you need to follow up. So we'll just go and do that while I load that up. So grab out your phone, either on your Instagram, cool, or your Facebook, send a message to 5 to 10 people, start some more conversations. Cool. Good to see you, Clement, bro. Rusty, always good to see you, man. Yes, good to see you. Cool. All right, team. So we're going to come in today because generally on Tuesday, we'll do a social proof post. And so social proof is our opportunity to show people that what we actually do works, okay? Or that it is a viable solution for people to use for the problems or the struggles they're facing. Cool. And so what Brad was talking about there is actually very similar in our content, and it's the same sort of things. A great quote is that stats tell, stories sell. Okay, and so our goal is to sell. It's not to tell people, it's to sell people so that they can get a solution. And so what we got today, and I'll chuck this in the chat, and you guys can move along with this. Cool. I'll make it, anyone can get it. Viewer, cool. And I'll just put this in the chat so you guys have got it. Awesome. Okay, cool. So creating case studies on your clients is a great way to showcase how your programs differ from other programs and works when other programs haven't. It's also a great way to allow your next best client to see someone like themselves doing something they want to do. So Marketing 101, the only question that people want to answer or want answered from your business, one of the only questions is, do people like me do things like this? And that's why niches are so important. So for example, with Gav, he's like, I help chefs get fit and healthy. And it's like, if a chef sees that and they want to get fit and healthy, and they're seeing a lot of social proof and a lot of Gav showing up, showing that he's a chef who gets people healthy, then people are going to think, oh shit, I'm a chef. he helps chefs, maybe he can help me. So it's one of those questions, and it's actually something in regards to my marketing in our gym. We've always only ever really shown, I guess, our gen pop people, our really, really normal people. But Jess said to me the other day, why aren't we showing our athletes? You know, why aren't we showing the people who get really, really good results? And for me, I was actually scared because I didn't want to scare off the gen pop people and the people who normally are intimidated by that sort of stuff. But we're like, no, actually, like our current clients, they're like, no, that stuff's really inspiring. So this is what we can share. So key points of an epic case study or a social proof post. Okay, so there's two ways you can go about this, but the most important things about it is you want to make it an engaging story about your client's transformation and journey. And that last part's really important, is the journey. People don't want before and afters anymore. They want to know how that before and after came about. It's about what someone else went through and how they got the result. Okay, so those are the two most important parts of a social proof post. Then we have our 9-step formula. Okay, so step number one, and this can be a great way to do this. Okay, it's like you can either, our goal is to interview our customer. So there's ways we can do this. We can either sit down with them and actually interview them and write down or video record the process and what we're actually going through this. Or we can use a bit of a type form, you know, a questionnaire to get some feedback and answering these questions. Or we can actually like just do a video or a live on it. But ideally, we want to interview the customer because they're going to use their language and they're going to be able to tell the story from their perspective rather than us saying, hey, my program's amazing. It's actually coming from a client, which is very, very cool. So when you're interviewing the client, use open-ended questions, including how they felt or experienced before, during, and after your program. Cool, including specific results they got from your program, okay? Record the call and then transcribe it so that you can turn it into a case study later. Then once we've basically interviewed the customer, okay, and if you haven't interviewed the customer, that's okay. You can basically write out their story and their journey from your perspective or with the help of them. Maybe just ask them a few questions along the way. But step number 2 is writing a benefit-focused headline, okay? So what you want to do is pick the biggest benefit or amazing outcome your client got and turn it into your headline. So for example, it could be that, let's say, Noxie, are you on the call, bro? I don't think he is. I'll just sort of zoom out.
Yep.
Oh, Noxie, can you tell us your story, man, of your original story of how you lost 90 kilos and a little bit about maybe just in a headline, I guess, way?
Probably the ever shrinking man, how I lost 90 kilos.
Yeah, perfect. So it's like, you know, how I became the ever shrinking man by losing 90 kilos and not dying on a treadmill or something like that, you know? So what we want to do is take the biggest outcome that they had, you know, the biggest benefit they got from your program and turn that into our headline, because ultimately when people buy a product, they're buying the benefit of it. And that's what Brad was talking about before, Josh, is that we're selling benefits. We're not selling features. We're selling what they actually get from the program. And that's why this is so important. So you can use the Mamba headline and hook blueprint to help you as well. Then what we want to do is introduce the customer. So we want to make it a real person. So who are they? What do they do? How do they do it? And what their day-to-day life looked like before they met you. Okay, and so this can make it really powerful. Anything interesting about the client also, but we really want to actually keep this short. Okay, so it doesn't want to be this like long story about who they are and what they do, but just a couple of bullet points of like, hey, Anita was a mum, she was a midwife, you know, she had 14 kids, but she still was able to make this work. Okay, so just a couple of quick bullet points so that when someone reads it, they're like, holy shit, I'm exactly the same or I'm in a similar situation. Then we go into step number 4, which is the before. Okay, so this is what was the one big pain point that led them to you or your program? What is the big uncomfortable, uninspiring life or struggle that made them say, I need to change? Okay, what was that big thing? You know, what was that thing that was holding them back? Were they like, fuck, I feel like a sack of shit just sitting on the couch, being a lazy prick, you know, it's about time. Did they see themselves in the mirror? What was that big pain point that said, bugger, I need to go and get something done? Then what we want to do is go into the pain points, the uncomfortable truths, and how this affected them. Here we want the reader to connect on an emotional level, and we want to use emotional versus logical language, because facts tell and stories sell. Okay, so we really want to tell a story of how they work through this. Then step number 5, we want to talk about the smart decision. So we want to highlight what was going on in your client's life in the moment just before they made the smart decision to join your program. And what you can see here is we're not just saying, hey, this lady got a before and after photo, good on them, give them a high five, well done. We're actually saying, hey, look, this is what their life looked like before they made the decision to join my program so that they could get the benefit result that you've already talked about at the start. So essentially, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? One of the clients at our gym, she wants to fit in her wedding dress. Okay, so there's things like that. What was the thing that actually made them say, hey, I need to do this? And we talked about this yesterday in the connection post, where for me, like my biggest driver is seeing that my old man died too bloody young. And it really freaks me out every day because I don't want to see that. And that's my big reason, you know, and that was the straw that made me think, fuck, I need to really actually, even though I'm fit, I really need to focus on my health as well. What was the moment of truth that made them say, okay, I need support with this? Okay, was it that, you know, they'd tried every fad diet in the sun, they'd lost their menstrual cycle, and, you know, all of that weight they lost, they put it on or double. Okay, so think about what was the things that actually made them say, hey, actually, maybe I need support with this. Because hands up, guys, is there a lot of people you talk to where they either don't believe in themselves enough to get started, or they think what they're doing is good enough and they don't need to actually do anything else? Just raise your hand. Yeah, absolutely. We get it all the time. And so when people see other people that are like, shit, this is why I actually started, then they can make that decision to be like, oh shit, maybe I should do that too, and stop believing my own bullshit. So step number 6, why they chose you. What was the things they had tried in the past that didn't work, and why they chose you over everyone else? Why they love you as a coach, why they love your service, why it worked better than the last time, and highlight why you're better, faster, and just cooler than the rest. And the great thing about this is it's all coming from the client's mouth rather than you just saying, hey, my program's the best, this is amazing. It's actually your clients telling the story. And this is why it's a great idea to interview them as well, because you can get some really gold nuggets out of this. And it just highlights what you do. Then what we do is we work through the transformation. So what we're going to do here is paint a picture of the process. So you're going to be like, hey, so Anita came in to me, you know, she chose our service because we were the only certified mum fit program in the local area. And what we did is we actually walked her through this step-by-step process. This is what it looked like. When she got started, she felt safe because of this. You know, she felt encouraged because of all the support she had from her other mums in the program. And, you know, it wasn't that she couldn't, you know, there were the days where she didn't want to show up. But, you know, because of the support of our community, because of XYZ, you know, we're able, when she fell off the wagon, to get her back on. And, you know, that's how she ultimately won. So we're painting that process, okay? We're painting the picture along the way. And you always want to show the ups, downs, wins, and struggles, because people don't want to just see people that have had it easy, because they're like, why am I weird? Why is this a struggle for me? When on the internet, it looks like everyone else has had this amazing transformation. Why doesn't this work for me? And so what they want to see is real people going through the challenges of actual change. Okay, so if you can highlight that, it makes a big difference. Then you want to show the after. So show the transformation and the outcome your clients received. So maybe that's they came in with a really, really bad knee injury, and we were able to fix their knees, and now they're back competing in jiu-jitsu. Okay, so for example, that's one of my clients. And then lastly, you just use a strong call to action. So you can use the Mamba call to action blueprint for that. Okay, so guys, just from that, what would be your takeaways as you were sort of going through that process? What was a couple of things that stood out to you in regards to that process, maybe in the eyes of someone reading or listening to that post?
I think the big thing is just getting the headline right, just getting that initial eyes on the post. That's probably the big thing. Obviously, images and stuff like that work really well, but if you can get that headline that makes them go, "Fuck, what's the next line say?" I think that's probably the big takeaway for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Use older clients too. They could be clients from like a year or two ago. Yeah, absolutely. Facts tell, stories sell. It's almost structured like a sales call funnel. Absolutely. You're walking someone through the process. You're painting the picture of what it looks like to be part of your program. Because that's what people are looking for. They're like, I've done every bloody program on the planet. I'm still 20 kilos overweight. I still feel like crap. What makes this different? And they have to see behind the scenes of why it makes it different. So what we're going to do, team, is once again, we'll go and create a social proof post to that. Or I want you to write down, or maybe actually I want you to send a message to 3 clients and ask them if you can interview them for this case study so that you can get some of these posts up next week. So maybe send a message to 3 people. Once you've done that, let me know. And then you can also create a juicy breakthrough post. Cool. Copy the link.
Jill, is there set questions you'll go through in that interview to extract the information that you're after?
Yeah, pretty much what's on the sheet, man. So, like, for example, when you introduce them and just be like, "Hey, Codes Bro, can you tell me who you are, where you're from, man? What do you do for work? What does life look like for you on a day-to-day basis?" Cool. And then when you go into the before, it's like, "Codes, man, can you tell me what life was like, before you got on the program? Sort of, how are you feeling? What were you sort of experiencing? What was the things that you were struggling with before we got on this program?" Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you just sort of work through these questions in your own way, man.
Yep. Okay.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
No worries. Cool, team. So from there, guys, just a yes or no, have you sent a message to 3 of those clients? Yep. Awesome. Got 2 lined up for this week. Yeah, awesome, Noxie. We usually use what was life before. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. And sorry, guys. And then I'll post the juicy breakthrough template in the chat. And let's go and create a juicy breakthrough post on that as well. I've been doing video testimonials, but we'll consider this too. So what you can do with the video testimonials, they're great. They're really, really good, but you can transcribe it and then broaden it out to this whole journey and then just make it a bit more engaging. One way you can do it too is like if you're into like a podcast or a live video, you can actually talk about it. Just like, "Hey, this is the story of XYZ client. I just thought I'd break it down." Cool. Yeah, the extra depth for the rundown for sure. Cool. All right, team. So what we'll do is we'll just spend 15 minutes. I just posted up that juicy breakthrough post, and I'll just leave this up as a bit of a reminder in regards to the social media formula. Cool. And think about some of the benefits that you can add into this, okay? While we're there, guys, today's more of the educational piece where we run through this stuff. So any questions you have around your social proof, maybe it's like, how do I create more social proof in different ways? Maybe it's you're struggling with leads, conversions, anything you like, just drop through some questions and we can cover that.
Hey, Dylan.
Yeah, shoot away.
Hey, man. I've got a question about sort of like the headline of a social proof post. So if I just quickly show you mine, that's what I've got so far. Do you reckon it could have a much more catchier headline then?
Absolutely, man. Yep. So what was the transformation Jordan got?
He was 60 kilos in Eshe, and then he became 75 kilos now. And can bench 100, and he's just looks a lot better.
So how Jordan gained 15 kilos of muscle, benched 100 kilos, and improved how he looked in the mirror, something like that.
Yeah, and he's also makes a lot more money now. So yeah.
Yeah, so or even that, man, that's even better. So how Jordan gained 15 kilos of muscle, benched 100 kilos, and added more money to his business, whatever you want, something like that.
Okay, so rather than having 1 year apart, 60 kilos to 75 kilos.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So like you want to talk about what he actually got from it, so that like when people read it, they're like, holy shit, I'd like the same thing.
Okay. Okay, so I can change that.
Yeah, like how Jordan added 15 kilos of muscle, plus benched 100 kilos, and then, you know, made way more money at work or something like that.
All right, cool, man.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Cool.
Dylan, I was
Yep.
going to do one today of like a collage of like all my different ladies, you know, some muscle, a bit of weight loss. And
Yep.
I was going to talk about, because a lot of ladies don't like doing the before and after shot, but I was
Yep.
going to talk about how important it is as a kind of tool of measurement rather than scales.
Mm.
Would that be okay, do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was a really hard one for our gym as well. And I guess the way we got across it was like, hey, look, we want you don't have to show us, but we want you to take it, because I know for a fact 6 months down the track, you're going to be blown away. And I want you to see that. So it's like almost painting that picture, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah, just as a bit of a social proof sort of thing. It also encouraged my ladies to start doing their photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
it's a motivational tool, and it's quite inspiring when you see your transformation. So thank you. I'm going to work on that one.
Yeah, it really is. And I would sort of work it from like, you know, the benefits of a before and after photo of like, you know, a lot of people feel like they're not progressing, but then all of a sudden they see their before photo from 6 months ago. And, you know, maybe the scales hasn't changed, but their body's completely changed, you know?
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Cool. Gav, do you have any questions, bro? Sweet.
Nah, first time, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Cool. If you got any questions, guys, just chuck them in the chat or fire them through. Otherwise, keep working on those social proof posts. Also, just so you can find more ideas for your social proof. So I'll just run through this. We've actually reorganized the guide. So what me and Albert done is we've gone through and keyworded most of Mamba now. So anything in regards to content creation will be in the same guide. So you should be able to find stuff a lot easier now. So if you're looking through this, you go to the guides, and then anything you need to learn on content creation, you'll find it in that one. Anything you need to find in terms of the swipe files. So for example, today, they need to be added in here, but we have some posts in terms of some social proof posts. So I'll get that added in there today. Albert, if you could add that in there, bro, that would be awesome.
Yeah, if you could refresh, I think I already added it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Sweet. So,
All right, Dylan, I got one for you.
yeah, fire away, man.
So just when we're doing these have more power if rather than kind of like saying on many of my clients, you kind of more go specifically on one person.
You can do both, man. And like, I guess one of the things is like stories of individuals can be very, very powerful. Yep.
And then would you put like, make sure you have images with these of the people, or what would you do then? Like,
if you can, yeah.
because if it's
Yep.
online, you might not have photos.
Potentially if you do like video reviews or technique reviews of their training, or if they got a video like that, could be potentially worthwhile. Or you could ask them for permission to use one of their photos from their social media.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. Cheers.
Yeah, cool. Or it could also be like if failing all of that, you could just have a photo of yourself as well. And then just like, talking about your client results. Cool. So we got some social proof ideas as well. If you want different ideas of how to show your social proof. So this is in the guides. Where did I see that? Social proof ideas. It's down a little bit. So yeah, if you ever want ideas on different ways you can show some of your social proof, we got some swipe files in here. Cool. So just different ideas. There's actually I noticed, Albert, man, I think in the comments section of the original post of this, there was a heap of photos and stuff in there. So we might need to grab that as well. But just some different ways, guys, that you can share it. So a lot of our ladies don't really like the before and after photos. So what we've done here is we're just taking their stats from Trainerize, showing the journey, and then a little video of them training can be helpful as well. I did a reel on client's progress. Yeah, for sure. Vanessa, if you want to share your screen. Or just post a link in the, can you post the link in the chat and I'll have a look. Real people, real results. Yep. Ever just feel overwhelmed and happy with where you're at? Lisa came to me about a year ago. Yep. Cool. What are the benefits of these, mate? Of your of these features?
Accountability.
Yep. So what is the benefit of locking in her sessions?
Well, she knew she couldn't get out of it. It was kind of the accountability of her scheduling it in for that time for herself.
So add that in. So those are the things you got to add. So we locked in her sessions so that she knew she couldn't get out of it.
Okay.
So you got to think about the feelings, the emotions, or what they actually, the benefits that they got from locking in those sessions. We made sure to check in weekly. What's the benefit of that?
To make sure she felt that she was actually heard, that she was on track.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when she fell off track, did she feel like she had the support to get back on?
Yeah.
So yeah, just adding those little bits of extra benefits of why they actually helped her achieve the
whys.
Goal. Yeah. So it's like we helped her with this so that she could have this, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Together with her training program designed around her goals, awesome training community. Yeah, awesome results. She is stronger, 16 kilos lighter. Yeah, cool. One of the big things is just probably adding a little bit more of this, the smart decisions and then why they chose you. So just for next time, it's still a really good post, but just those extra little bits would be really, really make it really, really good.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. No worries. Cool. How would you headline this work? A photo tells a journey. Are you confronted by what the photo tells you? Cool. This is about the before and after, Adrienne.
Yep.
maybe it's about, so because ultimately, like, the more you look in the mirror, the more you jump on the scales, the more you look at the photos as data and objective, you actually remove the emotion of it. So potentially it's like, have you ever wanted to lose, take away the power of the negative, whatever you see and so one of the, I guess I'm trying to think of, we did this one time, is like, are you sick of the scales breaking your heart? Well, then this may help you get over that. So it could be like, yeah, are you sick of the photos you take or how you look in the mirror breaking your heart? Well, then potentially this might help you get over that feeling of discomfort or something like that.
Okay, I'll think around.
Is that helpful?
Yeah, I'll think around those times. Yeah.
Cool.
I was
Yep.
trying to make it a little bit maybe fun as well.
A bit of fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, just work around what you think with that. Maybe come with like 2 or 3 and then post them in the chat and I'll have a look. Cool. Fire through any questions, guys. A photo tells a journey. Let's make your before photos more empowering, something like that. A source of empowerment versus a source of, disgust or something like that. Yeah, for sure, Anita. Cool.
Dylan, when you do these social proofs, do you put them on your stories and on your page all the time? Yep.
And with your Instagram stories, you can either reshare like the post, or you can just make it little bite-sized pieces. So like, just like, 1 to 2 words, or like 3 to 5 words on a story.
Yeah, I've been finding that if I reshare something again, maybe 2 weeks later, just to keep the flow of those highlights works better. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, you just always reshare old testimonials, old social proof.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of worded testimonials. I'm trying to get off that and trying to be doing more video testimonials. So I think they're just, obviously, it just speaks more than just having a worded post.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a little bit more effort, but if you convince your client to do it.
Absolutely. And they can actually, and like you can use them for both. Like I got a video ask the other day and I'm going to use that into a written post. So I'm going to write it out. But like, for example, Gav, he would rather do video all day long versus written, where I'm a bit of both. So whatever platform works for you, just roll with it. Would you break down like an overview of the process? Yeah, absolutely, man. So Clem, what do you mean about that, man? What do you mean about a breakdown on the process?
So let's say what we did with each sessions like calorie surplus, compounds, like all that stuff that we do to get himself there. Do we kind of, go through all that in the captions below, or do we kind of have a few more posts where we talk about that?
No, absolutely. Yeah, and try and make it like little bullet points. So what we done, like, so it could be, for example, like, because Jordan was a smaller dude, like sort of ectomorph sort of build, what we had to do is ensure he was in a calorie surplus. So we did this, and we checked in each and every single week to make sure he was gaining X, Y, Z, to make sure he was on track.
Okay.
Yeah, the more you can sort of paint that process, people will be like, oh shit, I can actually do that,
Okay, cool.
Cool. So I guess just a little bit of an example of that. I posted a reel this morning. So it was just about some recovery stuff. And I was like, if you know you need to recover as hard as you train, then using these tools will take your recovery to another level. Then I go into a pain point. A lot of people are training really hard, but often get annoyed by plateaus or lack of progress. Often the biggest reason they're doing this is they're out training their recovery. Cool. High performance recovery training can stimulate recovery by, and then I go a little bit into the process, 2 or 3 things that are about the process. Then I go into, don't make the mistake of thinking this is a development training. So don't make this mistake. So one other thing they need to avoid, and then a couple of key solutions that they should be focusing on. Then I go into a call to action. Cool. And then just a couple of bits of value there. So, basically it's running through like, here's the pain point or here's the thing they want. So there's your headline and hook. So I'm just using the if then formula for a headline. So if you know you need to recover as hard as you train, then using this method will help take your recovery to another level. Okay. Then I go into the pain point, what most people struggle with. Then I go into why it works. Then I go into a mistake to avoid, and then the key solutions that will actually make it work. And then my call to action at the bottom. Cool. Sweet, guys. How are we traveling with our social proof post? Everyone's on the right track? Cool. Maybe just in the chat, guys, what was something you learned about social proof posts today, or what is something you want to implement into your social proof? A live testimonial? Yeah, awesome. Most powerful tool, get it done. Yeah, absolutely. Create a question sheet for clients to fill out. Yeah, absolutely, codes. That'd be really good. Catch a headline that goes into what the client got out of it and how it's improved their life. Yeah, man, for sure. One way you can do that, Clement, bros, is that just as a bit of an example, is the headlines. We got the headline and hook blueprint. Cool, for in Mumba here. So you can use some of them as a bit of an example. There's about 30 odd in there. Cool. It could be something like how we use a targeted calorie surplus and how we use a targeted calorie surplus and a really focused training program to help Jordan get, gain 15 kilos of muscle, bench 100 kilos, and also improve his financials. So using some of these headlines could be really good as well. And I'll chuck that in the chat, guys. You've also got it in Mumba. Cool. I need to get more social proof. Main things I have at the moment are just photos of their messages. Yep. Don't want to take photos. Yep. So awesome. Cool, guys. Need more social proof. Interviews are the next step. Yeah, absolutely. Set yourself a challenge. Try to get one piece of social proof in some way every single day. Like it might be a text message from a client. It might be something they say at an in-person session. Like quite often, I'll be training someone in person and they'll say something like, hey, is it cool if we just get that on camera or take a quick video or use that in our chats? How Imesh lost 6 kilos in 10 weeks and how it drastically improved his confidence. Yeah, absolutely. So how it drastically improved his confidence so that he could, would make it really, really powerful. So that he could, show up at work and feel like, or show up as the dad he wanted to be, or show up as whatever. Cool. So just adding that little thing, it's like, He lost 6 kilos. It gave him confidence so that he could have. What is the thing that he ultimately gets from all of this? You know, his confidence massively improves so that he could get a new girlfriend, something like that. You know, it's all of those things so that he could go out and ask the love of his life to marry him. Those little things. Why is their life better? Because he lost 6 kilos and improved his confidence. Yeah. Cool. You guys are killing it. That's very, very good. Social proof is ultimate, guys. And like, the more you can sort of collect these over time, like if you can challenge yourself to get one really good social proof post for the next year, there's 52 social proof posts. Like you can post 2 a day onto your Instagram stories. You know, you got all the social proof showing that you're doing a really great job. And just think of creative ways to do it. Cool. So I'll leave it open for a couple minutes to ask any questions. If you don't have any questions, we will leave it there for today. What could I say with proof post if I share it? What do you mean? Sorry, Vanessa.
Sorry, that was a bit confusing how I put it. I'm just thinking if I'm going to share, say, for example, that reel that I put together, do I just use the same text that I would have used for in the reel for Instagram, or do I do something where it's like, you know, particularly if it's going to be on my personal page, do I add something else to it? What would your recommendation be?
Yeah, really, really good question. What you could potentially do is like screenshot a part of the reel and use a photo onto your Facebook, and then potentially just add those juicy benefits to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
Yep. That's cool. Noxy.
Yo.
Question, bro?
No, all good, man. I just finished clipping the testimonial video together for Angela. So I'll just finish writing up the copy to go with it, and then I'll post it up today. Yeah.
Sounds good, man.
I think the other thing as well, I'm going to get Chloe, the VA, to go through all of our text-based ones that we've actually put into frames on the wall here in the gym. But I'll get her to go through and kind of jazz them up. So we've got to and I'll just get her doing a weekly one of those as well.
Yeah, that's it. That's really cool. And like, that's the thing, guys, like you probably got even all your Google reviews, stuff like that. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll try think back to, you know, say we got a Google review from bloody 2020. Try to think back about the journey that client went through and try write a post about it. Because quite often too, like sometimes you can write this stuff in it. Yeah, see you later, Anita. If they're not clients anymore, sometimes they see that and it reminds them like, oh, fuck, maybe I need to get back into it as well. But yeah, and it's because your skill set now is different. You know, you can use those in different ways as well.
Mm.
Sweet. All right, guys. Well, cool. Cool. Did you find that valuable today, guys, in terms of the framework for the social proof? Yeah, sick. Cool. Awesome, guys. I'll see you a bit of a challenge. Drop your social proof post in the next 24 hours into the chat inside the Mumba chat, just so we can get some ideas, guys, seeing the different ways you guys are posting. It's really cool to see. All right, guys, we'll call it there for today. Have a great day, and we'll catch you all tomorrow. See ya.